Here in the benthic zone, in addition to marine snow, larger organisms like octodentes will eventually die and sink down here to the benthic zone, and something will specialize to feed on them, and some octodentes may be the ones to do this. However, to understand how this will happen, we must understand the realities of benthic existence, both oppressive darkness and pressure, i.e. water's heavy, there's a lot of it above their top side. All that water resting on top of them requires that they exert counterpressure not to be crushed. In some ecosystems, this will be intense enough that visiting the surface waters will be enough to make the animal explode. However, superossicles will be crushed due to the hollow digestive tract inside, so this niche will be filled by basic ossa, which may further develop their swimming to subcarangiform locomotion as opposed to their old-fashioned anguilliform locomotion, and correspondingly undergo the same adaptations as Piscis quoque calvariae minus the skull and butt bone. Okay, I was gonna go on this big spiel about a bunch of stuff, but it will be done quicker and less stressfully if I just do it this unscripted way. They're much bigger than other species to retain heat in this cold environment with little food. Well, it's not necessarily cold, but there's little food. So, think more like a shark as opposed to a random fish. 2, they have a better sense of smell so they can find carcasses to go eat. And 3, so they can see what they're doing, they have bioluminescent eyes. But since other individuals may see them and cannibalize them, they have the ability to turn off their bioluminescence at any time. Thus the name of this clade, which I will call Luminis Luctu Oculi, or flashlight eyes, as opposed to the more primitive Dim Oculus Maze, or dim eyes. Now, tentacle vermibus will find themselves needing defense against larger predators such as Luminus luctu oculi, so they may evolve a form of toxins for defense. Specifically venom, which will be administered through the stinger, which is now an actual stinger as opposed to a vaguely pointy soft back end of the animal. And furthermore, any organism that wants to defend itself through toxins will have to signal its dangerousness to predators. This normally comes in the form of bright colors. But in this environment, the darkness makes this hard to see, so they may do it in the form of bioluminescence, emitting easily seen blue light from their scales. This will earn them the name Pulchra vermis, or beautiful worms, as opposed to Odysseus squamis, or boring scales. And I will note that relatives from less steep areas just have simple colored scales, and once venom evolved in this clade, it became used in the majority of species, although some non-toxic species still cling on near the coast. Further up the water column from before, and by that I mean at the top in the surface waters by the coasts, is the reefs and village forests. And my discussion of the two will be intertwined due to their geographical and conditional similarity, and the blurry border between them. Many species may come from one, and one may come from the other. And because I have lots of stuff written down for this whole section, I'm probably going to break it into multiple episodes. Most of the nucleates are for reefs, but nonetheless, it's probably going to be multiple episodes. And I don't know I'm going to draw the line, so yeah. And speaking of Villae Plantae, that's also why I named the biome the Village Forest, since there isn't kelp here, but there sure is Villae Plantae. In part 2, I said that Dentes Incisures filled the herbivorous niche here on the Villae Plantae, and that will remain true now around 100 million years later. Meanwhile, Intus sunt Piscis will fill the various generalist niches here, and Et ossa magnus beres will be the apex predators. However, Aintus sunt Piscis and Et ossa magnus beres are only found around the eastern continents because of allopatry, i.e. they're adapted for the kelp forests. To get between different bits of kelp forests, they'd have to go through the open ocean, the pelagic zone, they aren't adapted to that. However, they are able to get between the eastern continents because of a string of islands that go between them. However, this does not allow them to access the seas around the Great Western Landmass, and so there will be a different assemblage of organisms filling the niches there. Put a pin in that because we're learning about the reefs now. In these reefs, going fast won't be beneficial since they constantly have to turn, and in swimming, gained ability to go fast comes at the cost of the ability to turn. And furthermore, the way most reef species defend themselves is to hide in the crevices of the reefs. And super ossicles will get in the way, precluding A. ossa magnusbares. Because of this, around both sets of continents, forms that use anguilliform and fin-based swimming, generally ones without super ossicles, will fill the Suctus eating role. However, A. ossa magnusbares may evolve to dig into the ground for defense, here using force provided by their rigid tail. I'll call this clade Arundipicius, or digging fish, as opposed to Archi A. ossa magnusbares, or old A. ossa magnusbares. Yeah, this clade has mixed lingual origins, deal with it. Clade Arundipicius is only present in the eastern hemisphere. The general structure of the reef ecosystems remains pretty similar across the planet. You have octodentes that feed upon Suctus pedes, and you have Captorcirca dentes meos that feed upon Villae plantae. And with all these docile species, there will be predators that evolve to feed on them. And this niche will be fulfilled by clades already present that evolved to hunt prey more mobile than Suctus pedes. Particularly, Arundipicius will hide in its burrow, waiting for prey to get close before blasting out to catch them. I'll call this clade Impetum forbis, or attack diggers, as opposed to Venia guardians ad foribus. Meanwhile, in the western hemisphere, totally different predators may evolve than in the eastern reefs. So, the niche may be filled by Stella qui fugit, and some may become carnivorous. They may begin digging underground and preparing to attack prey. To do this, they will lay in their burrows upside down so their mouth can snap out at prey. And their legs may become more muscly. And to better detect prey, they may develop extra setae, including ones on the bottom of their sensory stalks that protrude rather close to the surface. These adaptations will allow them to quickly burst out at prey. I'll call this clade Colopelose, or hairy neck, as opposed to Mollusc coli, or soft neck. And finally, we can circle back around to the sea forests. Their muscly legs will be perfect for propelling them through the water. So some Colopelose may fill the generalist niches in the sea forests in the western hemisphere. They'll use their jaw to rip off chunks of stuff, and yeah. I'll call this clade Cura natare, or swim legs, as opposed to Cura metella fodinum, or dig legs. As mentioned before, the primary autotrophs on this planet are loner plantae, which serve as algae, and they are fed on by small plankton, in this case macrobacteria, which, new development, are fed on by two different types of organisms. This is a result of how abundant a food source they are, fed on by both small nekton that actively and directly attack their prey, and pelagic filter feeders which use large sieves to mindlessly filter out plankton indiscriminately. I have more of an idea of what I'll do with the filter feeders, so I'm doing them first. So filter feeders benefit from having a large size, both since they can catch more prey, but square cube law, you might say, the ultimate reason they do this is defense. Of course, they don't have active respiration, so their size will be limited to around 15 meters. Passive respiration is much less of a restraint underwater than it is on land. But given this tendency towards large size, Normalis piscius will be the ones to take up the filter feeding niche, due to their air bladder being able to make them lighter. And their teeth will develop into long sticks that carry hundreds of long, thin bristles to filter out plankton, and to better escape predators, they may evolve subcrunch from locomotion, similar to Piscis quoque calvariae. I'll call these forms Gigantes autem superficium, or giants of the surface, as opposed to Pisciculus sylvae, or small fish of the forest. And for small nekton, I'll have Piscis quoque calvariae fill the niche. There's not much to add here. And of course, small nectin and gigantes autumn superficium will need predators to hunt them, so some other Piscis quoque calvariae will evolve to hunt nectin, and since nectin can actively swim away, these predators will need to evolve an even faster way to swim. And, like last part, this will be achieved by concentrating propulsive motions to the back of the animal. This next stage of this ongoing development is called carangiform locomotion. Normally, this is when side fins specialize in advance and dorsal fins evolve in the first place, but these forms already have their front set of fins, and to be more hydrodynamically optimized, their teeth will be pressed together into a solid cone. You may have noticed that all these adaptations to faster swimming they have made over the years have given them an external physiology similar to that of an arrow. That is because they are under similar pressures and both are radial objects. Anyway, in light of this, I'll be calling this clade Sagitta piscis or arrowfish as opposed to Vetus piscis or old fish. That's the best I can come up with, okay? Anyway, this clade feeds on nectin, and some of this nectin is small nectin, and a fact about hunting small nectin is that in the water, even a small predator simply lunging at prey will create enough turbulence to push such small prey out of the predator's reach. And on Earth, you find two solutions to this problem. One solution is to suck prey into the mouth, and the other is to adapt the jaw to lunge forward on its own, creating minimal turbulence while simultaneously capturing the prey. Such methods are probably going to be dominant in clades with mandibles, such as octodentes, since their jaw is already technically a set of limbs, albeit less pronounced in this case, as only their teeth have this condition, and they aren't very flexible, being, well, teeth. A membrane will grow connecting the teeth and they preyed by opening their teeth up to the maximum degree, then letting prey enter range, then snapping shut, catching the food, living very sedentarily, only moving to escape predators. I'll call this clade Dente membrana piscis, or the tooth membrane fish. And a different clade of Sagitta piscis may evolve to feed on both them and Gigantes autumn superficium. These forms won't need to be specialized to catch their prey, although swallowing them will require getting bigger, and to propel this massive body and catch their large prey, they may develop yet more advanced swimming. The final form of body-driven swimming is called thunniform locomotion and is seen in large predatory species like sharks or orcas, and it involves swimming using only the tail and propulsion. In these Sagitta piscis, all remaining loose ossicles may fuse into a single superossicle. Segment 6 will fully fuse into one. What the fuck passed me? Okay, so I was saying there's that all the ossicles in segment 6 fuse into one, and then after that they all fuse into one super ossicles that all starting in segment 6, albeit actually, I believe that it actually starts in segment 8, not segment 6. I don't know, that's how I've drawn it. But the way it happens to look in the old... I forgot everything when it comes to how the different segments are labeled in the original script from like 11 months ago, okay? And this back ossicle will extend over the remaining loose ossicles, forming a tail with a small gap of ossicle-like structure connecting the tail to the thorac ossicle. These ossicle-like structures are not true ossicles, but they are made of pure cartilage, and muscle around them will move the tail. I'll call this clade Tres Nevis Calvariae Locus, or the Free Skull Ship, as opposed to, yeah, there's a reason I didn't say as opposed to earlier, as opposed to Dente Membrana Piscis and Tres Nevis Calvariae Locus. It's because I'm giving one name to the basal forms, Basic Piscis, or Basic Fish. Then I put something about how the Tres Nevis Calvariae Locus fill a similar niche to placoderms and sharks on Earth, and also noting that the ones that feed on Gigantes autumn superficium will grow particularly large to take large bites out of their prey, even rivaling them in size. I do want to note that like basic piscis refers to like Sagitta piscis that aren't Dente membrana piscis or Tres Nevis Calvariae Locus. I don't think I conveyed that well in the original script, so yeah. Okay, so so yesterday I edited together the part 4 season episode and got that whole job done, and yeah, today I'm recording a little outro for it. So yeah, this is the first season episode. That's not only the first season episode that's premiering within a year of that actual part concluding, but also within a year of it initiating, albeit just barely. The start of Pen Part 4 was on January was the first episode of that. The first episode of that was released on January the 30th, 2022, and on estimate, I'm expecting this to come out sometime like around 16th, not 16th, around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of 2023. But yeah, 20, and then I guess the part 5 season episode will be the first to release well within a year of the original part starting out. I was being serious when I was telling you that the part 2 season episode was holding up the whole sequence. I was being very serious. Sorry for any hiccups there. That was a bit annoying and however non-consensual. Anyway, but yeah, I'm glad to have literally all of these. It's been like a 15-minute editing job making the season episode. Talking about the production of part 4 in general, it was troubled. It was the first time I went more than a month without uploading, something I really like to avoid doing. I think I uploaded something in February 2022. Yeah, I uploaded the Animal Crossing shorts, but it wasn't a short, but that little Animal Crossing video talking about the amount of mail you get on Valentine's Day, because everyone on your island basically gives you a Valentine's, and it's just like, wow, this has clogged my mailbox. But yeah, so that's a thing. Like, it was very slow production. After taking a whole month instead of the previously normal 2 weeks to make the last episode of part 3, I then took another whole month to make the first episode of part 4, then more than a month to make the next episode. Then I actually managed to get the next episode after that out in a timely manner, which was good. This was a matter of largely seasonal depression. It was largely a matter of executive function disorder. I'd made several parts up to this point. Burnout was creeping in, and also seasonal depression. Since a lot of this, especially since things were going really at their worst throughout the winter of 2021 into 2022, and then picked up with late part 4 and as well as part 5 as we went through the spring. But yeah, so this is all a thing that's happened. Anyway, goodbye, people.